intimate group. Thank you guys for coming together. I know. I guess I'll sit over here too, so we can kind of direct their attention. But thank you for coming. This is the EGGN 401 Projects for People. You guys all know a little bit about this program anyway, so keep the introduction short. But we have a mixture of Peruvian students and my students here that have been working on this project. They've gained engineering experience, writing experience, teamworking experience, and a lot of cultural appreciation. So let's see what they learned officially.
All right. Thank you, Tess. So good morning. Right now we are going to present our final presentation of our program here. And I would like to begin this presentation by thanking you all for making this opportunity possible and for also coming here. So right now, I'm Ricardo Gonzalez. She's Brenda, Swiftly, Emily, and Hiram. So to begin with, this is a content that we're going to follow. It's quite as you can see, the introduction, results, discussions, and recommendations. And just to your mind, we have called this project Yaku Field because Yaku means water in Quechua, which is a native language of Peru, and field is related to future. So right now, introduction.
Okay, first of all, as this project is going to be developed in Peru, we have to know that 16 million people in Peru are without access to purified and treated water, which is a big quantity of people. And our fluorination does not lead to disinfection microbes. Already knows, and this is this project going to be about. And specifically, this project is going to be developed in Junín, which is a department in Peru. Here is the map of Junín, and that red part is Huamancaca, which is a province where we are going to develop our filters. In Huamancaca, 48 of Huamancaca population is without treated water. And that's why 10% of the people suffer from stomach bladder and rectal cancer due to poor quality of water. And that's our main problem, and we are on this project is about solving this problem. And the background of the project is that they already exist some filters that are far from viable solutions. These are expensive and difficult to access because Huamancaca province is very poor and they don't have the economic resources to pay or to make the filters that already exist. And communities have chosen to take advantage of ordinary surface water resources, which are of uncertain quality, and that's why they have some diseases. And well, recent trends shows that activated carbon is really effective to remove these bad things from water. But we are also going to test biochar, which does not require a sophisticated preparation as activated carbon, and is enough to treat water. So that's why that is what we're going to talk about now in this presentation. Our previous work consists, first, we made a user empathy, which was about finding ways to communicate with these people, trying to explain our ideas, their problems, how to solve them, and we found ways so they can trust us. Then we made an inspirational research, which was basically research all the things that we are going to need to develop this project. And ideation, which is research how to create, pack, and analyze filter media.
So in that context, our main goal was to design a homemade filter media based on biochar and activated carbon to filter water with high content of chlorine, overfluorination, water, organic matter. Another goal was compare qualitatively the biochar and the activated carbon, as well as compare our commercial biochar with all the biochar and activated carbon. So in the part of the methodology, we first have the materials. We know that the most common crops in Junín, in Chupaca specifically, is carrots, potato, and eucalyptus. So we can see about in the bottom part that the lignin content is 19.7 and between 18 and 22. So we already know that the amount of lignin is like its function over the quality of the biochar and activated carbon. It's function of the amount of lignin that the waste have, and also the amount of carbon. So our experiment scheme is we first start with media curation of biochar. We use carrot and potato for this part. We use 200 grams of each respective waste. We dry every waste in 155 Celsius degrees. We then heat at 400 Celsius degrees for a time of 3 hours, and then we flash with the water. And finally, we dry it as well 105 Celsius degrees for a period of 15 hours. Then, for the activated carbon process, we took a half of the biochar again from the first process, and we made to the activation step. We used lemon solution, 25% of lemon solution. We put half the biochar in a beaker, and we fill with the solution. We let it for 24 hours, and then we flush with the water, and then we dry at 105 Celsius degrees for another period of 15 hours. The last. Oh.
So after these media were prepared, we then moved on to the experiment part, which we were doing batch experiments. And due to time constraints, we decided not to use the potato activated carbon or potato biochar in our testing. So we only used the carrot activated carbon, the carrot biochar, the commercial biochar, and then also the control. And the purpose of the control, which was filled with mostly just the DI water, and then later we added the buffer. The control was to see what other components attracted the chlorine from the media. So that could have been from the rubber stopper or from the bottle itself. So we did 5 bottles of each of the media, and then we did 3 bottles of control. So we had 18 bottles in all that we were to put into the shaker. And then due to another time constraint, the procedure actually asked for 5 days in the shaker. But we were testing, we took 2 of the bottles of each media out at 2 days, and we tested those for chlorine analysis. And then we kept some in the shaker that we'll then take out later at 5 days. And we're gonna see if the chlorine analysis at 2 days was any different than analysis at 5 days, and see if we can use that 2 days later for a quicker procedure, or if really we have to wait that full 5 days that it's asked for. So once we took it out of the shaker, we let the media settle, and then we can move on to the chlorine analysis itself. And this part was pretty simple. We used sample cells of 10 milliliters. You took 10 milliliters of that solution, and we put it in that sample cell, and then we add the correlating pillow packet into that, and we're testing free and total chlorine. So then we just set those into the hot machine that is shown there. The total has to wait 3 minutes before we can test it, and the free chlorine can be tested immediately. So then we tested each of the samples with the chlorine analysis and recorded those, and then we will, in a couple days, we'll then do the rest of the batch system with the same analysis.
We took pictures under the light microscope analysis to have an idea of the size of the media. So first, we put like some media in the microscope slide, and then cover them with cover slips and seal them with nail polish. So after this, they are ready to put under the microscope. And with a 100 magnification, we also did look at the microscopy of the filter media through an electron microscope, and with that we just had a strip of tape and we kind of put the filter media on and then put it in the electron microscope and look through it there. So we'll be showing you guys the results that we got from all these analyses. So first up here we have analysis for chlorine. As you guys can see, we did 2 trials, and for each trial we did free chlorine and total chlorine. And if you would look at some of the numbers, they are bolded, and then some of the cells are highlighted in green. So the bolded, I guess the first thing I should mention is that total chlorine is equal to free chlorine plus combined chlorine. And so with that logic, that we know that total chlorine should always be larger than free chlorine. And in our data, we can see that with the bolded numbers, our free chlorine is higher than our total chlorine. So that's a discrepancy that we were aware of. And then also, we looked at the available chlorine that we put into each bottle based on our chlorine solution and also how much buffer and DI water we added later on. And so those numbers are the second column to the left right there. And so the green boxes are the ones, or that shows that the chlorine content is higher than that of the available chlorine in the bottle. And so with those numbers that we've marked as kind of weird or odd numbers, we have about 6 numbers left that are possible in the possible range, which was kind of discouraging, but we also knew that these tests were done after 2 days of the batch experiment, which is different from what the protocol asked for, and also we had many difficulties with light because we know that chlorine kind of breaks down under light, so we were thinking maybe that could also be the source of where our data went from. And so once we took out the data that was feasible, we came up with this table. And so after some calculation, it shows that the chlorine absorbed for carrot biochar is at 0.0099, and then for activated carbon is at 0.008, and then for biochar, commercial biochar, we have 0.0063. And these results are actually kind of opposite from what we were expecting. So biochar, in theory, should absorb less material than activated carbon, and in here we can see that the highest absorption was from our homemade carrot biochar, and our least amount of absorption is from the activated carbon that we made. So these are the pictures that we told with the microscope 100 magnification. As you can see, the activated carbon is bigger than the biochar, and we hypothesized that it's because we did the chemical procedure to the activated carbon, so it makes it bigger. And these are also the potato biochar and the potato activated carbon.
So under the light microscope, the carrot and potato filter media kind of look similar, but at electron microscopy level, we see that they're actually quite different. So first up here, we have the carrot biochar versus carrot activated carbon. Up here, the biochar you can see is a little fuzzy and it's hard to find pores within the media itself. But down here, we can very easily see that the activated carbon has a lot, and the amount of pores are correlated to how much, or theoretically correlated to how much material it should absorb. And then this is our potato biochar and potato activated carbon. So potato biochar, we noticed that it's a lot smaller than what we saw for the carrot biochar media. We noticed that the particles seem to be a bit more crumbly, and when we looked at the potato activated carbon, what we thought were pores were, I think, magnitudes of about 10 to 50 sizes bigger than the magnitudes of the activated, the carrot activated carbon
pores. So we weren't sure, based on these pore sizes, that they would actually absorb more of the solution that we need. But we can see that since the material itself is a bit more crumbly, we hypothesize that this potato biochar is probably not as good as a media as carrot biochar or activated carbon. And here's the commercial biochar. To compare the two homemade biochar to the commercial biochar, you can see there's a huge difference. With these pictures, we can see there are like definite pores, and then there's nice big chunks that have these kind of porous structures. And this shows that if we did our experiment, hopefully, again, we'll find results that would correlate to these pictures, because this is a kind of a more physical data that we can look at.
So right now, let's talk about the discussion. To begin with, in the middle of the process, we were thinking to use different methods. But since instances constrained and also like materials, we chose to use another method. But at the beginning, our expectation was to use column experiment, so we can test it as a filter itself. So we put all the media into a column, so we can put water with different flow rates and see which flow rate is most effective, and if that is a sensible variable in our process. And also, we were thinking to use eucalyptus. We even bought eucalyptus to test it, but the problem was that when we put it to the oven, I don't know how or why, it didn't convert into carbonate. It was there for more than 24 hours, but it was almost the same as before. So that's one thing that we still need to study or test in the future. And so in the part of research, we were thinking to use blue methylene number and iodine number to measure the porosity of each media, because that was an effective method that we can use, because the normal method was to use liquid nitrogen, but the problem was that that method is very complex, and we don't have enough knowledge to do that. So that's why we chose this method. But at the end, we only choose to do the microscopic test to find the qualitative difference between these media. And then, so we changed it. Instead of doing the column experiment, we do the batch experiment to make it faster and to have more results in shorter period of time. And then we also choose potato, and then the microscopy instead of the blue methylene number and iodine number. So just to summarize all this process. At the beginning, we have heard that there was a problem in Wamangaka. The problem was that they don't have water. Well, they don't have treated water, so they are not able to drink qualified water. So we had to make some research. We didn't have at that time all the data we need to continue with our project. So that's why we spent a lot of time finding and researching this info, and eventually we got it. And there was a problem, and also we interviewed some people. Well, actually, one environmental engineer that is local from that place. So he told us that the water that they use in the nearby resources are from spring water, and they think that it's very clean because the spring water is supposed to be clean. But the problem was that water comes from the agriculture part, and so all the water that comes from one agriculture zone, there might be a lot of organic matter. And when you add chlorine into the water that has a higher concentration of organic matter, there will be disinfection of the product, and that's very harmful. And with the data that we found about that 10% of the people suffer from rectal cancer, we have concluded that the water that comes from that spring water is very dangerous, and that's why we needed to use this filter. And then about the materials chosen, we chose these three crops, as Jairo said, because they were most ample in that place. But as you can see in the slide that we showed the crops, the potato has only 0.7 of liquid content, and that's why in the results it didn't have the correct results, because the reading content is very related to the porosity of each media. So at the end, we decided only to use carrot, and in the future we're gonna test eucalyptus. as I strongly believe that research is like an art because it's never done, but it's only abandoned. There is more future work to do in the future. So, in the lab work, we want to test the eucalyptus biochar and the carbon. We still need to find how is the correct process to convert eucalyptus to this biochar of carbon, then to use the sensibility analysis. Because as you can see in all this process, there are a lot of variables that sometimes is out of control, such as the temperature, the residence time, and the chemical solution to make it activated, and so on. And also the the old of the crop, because since in the research that we did, the older a crop is, the higher the lignin content it has. So we also have to find all these variables to make it compact and understandable for us. And then we also need to do more batch experiments with the Pfizer results. Actually, today we are going to have those results because we just took in from 2 days on Monday to see our results in the process. And we also have to try different methods of clone measurement to make it more accurate and more repeatable. And we do also a column testing to see what is the benefit of flow rates. And in the part of the field work, we still need to collect more water to measure it and to find what are the principal feature that it has, so we can also test with that and mimic a water with those conditions and to test it in our filters. And then we have to also find the chlorine and organic matter inside of water. And just to end this presentation, the long-term recommendations, the long-term future work, we are gonna when we are gonna travel to Huamancaca this August, we're gonna have help from NGOs that are there, such as Agua Limpia, that we have already talked with them, and also we want to promote water quality education and implement filters in Huamancaca to see and to have some feedback from there, to see if they really want to use a filter and to make them believe us that this is a correct solution that they should do. And I believe that all this process was a really good experience because actually none of us are from chemical engineering or only Emily from environmental engineering, which is the most related career. But even though we have learned a lot about a new field, and I would like to also thank you again for giving us an opportunity. Thank you.
Do you guys want to walk through what's sitting on the table there? Pass it around.
Yes.
Oh, pass it around, okay. Well, what is it? Can you tell them what it is?
Okay. So this one is the carrot activated ferment. This is the potato activated ferment.
So we actually use out of, this isn't the stems and waste of these products, this is actually potato.
That was the peel off the potatoes, and then the carrot is the whole thing. Yeah.
So the commercial biochar, what is that?
Coconut shell.
And what's the liquid content of the coconut shell?
Between 20 and 30.
So you can see we use a lot of kilograms of iron.
Yeah, there's a lot of.
We got a system that we use about 80% of all
I think that bag was 5 pounds of carrots.
the. That's 5 pounds of carrot.
That's 5.
Wow.
But we actually also use them in the microscope.
Yeah.
But still.
But when we're like,
I grow carrots and they just keep growing and they're always like thousands of carrots. in the ground. I was wondering, there are commercial filters that use some form of activated carbon. And your argument in the beginning was that they're too expensive.
The place is really a very important place. So we don't understand this.
So the hope is to provide a design that people can by themselves and under their own water.
we really should certain types of materials that we can find easily in their backyard or things that they would consider as would so it's potato peel and then carrots, hopefully waste from that.
And the steps in your process more or less are the same steps you use the commercial biochar. It's more like what we do, we need and large scale. So because we only what work you so many hands that have 200 grams each. So that's part time. But at least the step of heating and drying and
Yeah. Yeah, but they are usually partial physical conservation. And there are also some chemical applications, and that's usually the most effective method to use, but it depends on the materials.
with the folks who are going to do this themselves have access to the money groups and things like that.
Yeah, actually we use them because there are other showing what to use and asking.
Did you ever look at economies of scale though? Uh, so it's expensive to buy the commercial, but if the community bought together, they buy a commercial filtration system for the community and with more effectiveness than the individual household.
Americans less easy and like other persons, so it's better if they live their own things and you're sure what they're doing.
Because the only way that they order almost all of the people is that they work with shows them to clothing and before that they now that is season that
I think those kids in the market amount of to another issue. So sometimes we just kind of pour it.
Yeah, more better.
Is there possible government regulatory issues that would prohibit people from using filters that they use themselves following some of the things? So you come up with a process, and kind of the way I see it, maybe you even sell a kit or you give away kits. People start making biochar, putting in the filter, using it. Will the government come and say that's illegal because it doesn't meet regulatory rules about water? That would happen here in the US.
Yeah.
I don't believe that regarding that. I think the biggest thing would not include from the government, but more so from the private companies who are filtering water. So that would be the first transaction.
Yeah, actually, the water treatment plant is flooded. But when it's more large scale, so when it's flooded, it's in the payload. Usually I want to know. And what is it's private and only work with what I can do. Stand up is not really. So here the government really doesn't do.
We had a long-term project in mines and a village in Honduras. We provided a water system for a 10,000 person village. They just have all their water trucked in. So after the system in place, people from the trucking company would come and shoot holes in the lines so that the water would go. So they can sell their water. It's definitely the case that you provide people an option that moves someone else's fees. That's an expression we have. Somebody else is making money providing that solution. We provide a better solution. People are already making money from doing that. Sometimes that's the government. Sometimes.
Just to make sure I understand the ideal sort of vision. If this carrot, the non-activated carrot dust is effective,
then in theory, maybe they have to line it, hold some of that test credits, or like fill up a jar like this, make some jar like this size with biochar, plug in, add into hose and water, and that just pour their water from this room. Biochar, just like season that you're at
Yeah, that is.
What other things do you need to test besides the controls? He just said something. He said something about that.
celebrate gratitude. That's, yeah, that's what else is that surface area.
Solar. Yeah, so that was the reason why we were showing pictures and stuff, but we're looking for those fields and those fields would ideally collection material. But and it hopefully applies to those cores, but we were going to changes.
So that there is not a chemical reaction.
We believe there is.
There is not. Okay, so if you got instead of biochar, soil, fire, what's called here, you got some of the force structures. Yeah, that the good part of it has a higher porosity. So it already has a kind of so we can also use kind of we kind of go to the visual standard to really try to do.
That was actually one of our biggest things to test, but we believe that by our sand filters, there's issues, that to be something that's tested elsewhere, or we tested in some package to whereas other places.
Is it a municipal water system or which house it has?
Yeah. What is it?
Yeah, that's good. Water.
So not all the homes have distribution line to them from the system.
So not all campus, like this is yeah. They only take into account the natural what's happening. That benefit, and the one that are small. That level is actually 5 ppm is a maximum level for the number that they will have to relation of whatever they do. So we chose 10 ppm to level to begin with that number to place in house.
Just not to compare the temperature. It's not like or the water, it's just it's now how is the creation of chlorine concentration.
which is 10 like the level of the mountain to replicate or to replicate the overcoming.
We try to use whatever, but according to what the requires. Sometimes you have, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not.
So you're still unrestricted?
Yes.
Yeah. I usually remember on your test after 5 days. Actually,
So those who were in the pilot lab with Coma and you guys want to watch them.
These tests are about 40. So the way, if I'm thinking of the situation where you say, well, people have some water, it's maybe contaminated somehow they put chlorine. Is the idea that they're going to put chlorine in and then do the filter, as opposed to you filter the water directly with the organic or other things?
Yeah, that's our main thing. Yeah. Hope that can happen.
But you didn't test any water with the organic. You're going to do that this summer. Yeah. Which are you hoping is going to happen? That you directly create the water, or you create it after it?
That's what we want to test. We want to test the water that comes directly from the spring. And also the water that,
So right now, we knew that we had a stream on time, and we also didn't know what was in the stream. So the contact that we had with who he is also a professor, and he didn't have a lot of time to travel to these springs or these water sources to get the data that we needed. So therefore, we decided to tackle the urban pollution because we can control what's the urban pollution versus what are in these springs. But ideally, we also talked about education, and if we were able to implement an education program so that people understand that if you're going to chlorinate, you should chlorinate properly, and if you're not going to chlorinate, then why don't you just use this filter? That would be the ideal solution where they'd understand why you chlorinate your water or why you should filter your water. But as of right now, if we can't convince them that you should be without your chlorine, then it's still a better result for us to give them a filter and filter their water versus drinking over.
You filter after chlorine.
Because chlorine is something that I think, and we've been told is something that we trust and it's included in our water. So as a view, kind of like partying, it would be hard to tell them to forget their chlorine and just use it.
So you can remove the organics and then the chlorine, you don't consume the and that way you still have their chlorine, so we still trust that. And the filter, who knows, maybe that's doing something really attractive. But it is doing something that
It's kind of thing, the place people from their searching and they think that chlorine makes their drinks and their food that it's their, and they really like chlorine. So it's really wonderful.
yeah, I mean, I have no problem with them chlorinating. And if you can educate them not to overchlorate and to remove the organic precursors that form the cancer-causing chemicals, then it's sort of win-win. If the biochar would have
That's exactly part of our future design constraint. We need to figure out if we implement future in for the ad or after that. Because it's hard to change the mindset of people. They only rely on having added chlorine to
And for the solution that we need to work, we would have to work with the engineer to ensure that they do that do education program because we need to students and it's outside.
that's why it's very good to go there.
We can see where we're going to for them was.
So maybe weigh a lot of different options of methods you could used to fix this, but in the presentation you said that you want to convince them that this is the correct solution. How can you say that other solutions are not viable? I mean, this may be the best solution, but not, why is it the correct solution?
I think it may be because like they really described, so they have like ways to actually use the material, they can use the material for the longer process.
I think that is a good point. You know, what we're designing isn't the only solution. And maybe they can educate them, maybe they can help us brainstorm, let us know things that they've already been thinking about or they've already been doing. So yeah, maybe this is the best solution based on our science that we've done right now. But what does that actually mean when we get down there?
So, to figure out a nice recipe for making biochar, we discovered that it's a chlorine or removes a lot of organics. I'm at that point, there's sort of a whole other project that you put that into something that people already fix. How do you put that in the filter? How do you keep it from coming out of the water?
I think it means just making the media itself is a little bit less than to make the media. We know for sure there's discrepancies in our data and not we measure things or the media itself. So we always want to try to improve the way we're making them. And then also from taking the media to putting it into a prototype that we use to filter that to that is something that we
Do you know what filter is kind of standard off the shelf you put the media in, or do you have to have a filter designed for the media?
I agree with that right now. Before about the degree, I want to do any react analysis to react. So what are there and correct? Which is surface temperature, versus time, or like of crops, species of one crop, but there are like, for example, carrots. And right after that, we can just, now that we have all that given, all the theory and all the results, we can work this into but right after that, that will be our carbon we go under that step.
Do they use any pesticides in their growing? Yeah, that's another part of what you asked. Based on our research, we do the amount of carbon consequence is purity, genetics of that type, synthetically of potato, naturally. So there is some species that have more that's they're quite valuable, like that amount of water, amount of light, or what type of stuff. So that contributes to increase or decrease in amount of Yes. Like, learn a lot. Good luck with that.
Yeah, if you guys are interested, I can, let's say, if they turn in their final report, we can send that on to you guys. If you want to see the results of this experiment and kind of see that whole background and everything.
Okay. Well,
Thanks
thanks,
for coming.
everyone.
Sorry.
Someone else able to join this right now? It's not a good possible.
No, I'm not going to like.
Tours was loud, so. Yeah, the wastewater treatment.
Oh, that part, of course.
Yeah.
You wanna come?
I'm so busy right now. I'm leaving Friday for the summer.
Oh, geez. So excited. Okay, really Friday. Have you talked to Faye at all?
I haven't, I need to.
She might have stuff that you need to sign, so I pop in there. I haven't talked to her yet, but I'm not leaving Friday. Yeah, pop in there. She knows I've been in her neighborhood before.
Yeah, and I think the reference.
Yeah. So she shouldn't be
Do
surprised.
you guys have class right now? Do you think this is the
Do we have
last?
dates yet?
Oh, we have dates. Yeah. So we are going to, Francisco says that it would be best if we get into Lima, so my students going down there on like the 29th or the 30th of July. The first, I think, is the day that we're actually going to be going, or the 31st.
Travel 31st.
Travel 31st to the site there for the full 7 days, and then we're going back to Lima for the last 7 days to run our lab tests at UTEC. So fly out either the 29th or the 30th, and then we would return on, you guys start class I think on the 15th, which is a Monday, so we would return on 14th, or whenever you want, I guess. You guys, obviously, unless you want to come back. And I think I'm actually going to go down in mid-July. I threw you under the bus. I said, Ricardo wants to do some extra work, so I'm going to help him in July. Of course, if you guys want to work then too. I may or may not be there. If you want to work by helping the sightsee, that's perfect. So, yeah, those are the things. I hope that helps. So, 31st, travel to Oaxaca on the 31st.
Are we gonna do something in or?
So we can. I'll be there for 2 weeks before.
Okay.
So if you guys want to come and help out, or we plan something, or if you just want to hang out with me and show me around.
Sure.
But you won't be required to necessarily be there. It's, yeah, the first, 31st through the 15th.
So first we're gonna travel to.
Yeah, so if you want to just meet us there, I mean, we'll start actually working on the first. So if you want to just meet us there, taking us in Las Vegas.
Wait,
Yeah.